The mobile payment industry has been one of the more interesting industries to watch over the last couple of years when you just look at the major players, when you look at the startups like Square, Zoom, PayPal, etc. And now a little company by the name of Walmart has entered the space. Walmart is launching its own mobile payment system. They're starting small. They're testing it in Arkansas,
and
launching it today,
rolling it out. I believe over the next 6 months or over the next 9 months in the rest of the United States, and it'll be an app that'll be available on both the Apple iPhone as well as the Android system. I think people spend a lot of time focused on the app versus Apple Pay or the app versus Google Pay as if that's the real sort of competition, and that is is this going to be a blow to Apple in some way or make Apple customers less likely to purchase the next iPhone?
Certainly, that's what all the headline writers are thinking today. If you just look at the headlines, it's all like Walmart is taking on Apple Pay.
And that's actually completely besides the point, in my opinion. I think that this move is just one more salvo in a very, very long-running, vicious war between merchants and the credit card companies, the credit card processors and the networks like Visa and MasterCard. And the reason I say that is because, well, first of all, obviously the Apple app is going to be available on the iPhone just as it is on Google on Android phones. But if you think about what Walmart's real motivations are, like they don't really care what phone is in your pocket. They care very, very deeply about how much they pay every time you swipe a credit card or use a payment system. They want you to use well, in Target's case, for instance, they want you to use the Target card, or they want you to use the debit card network. And Walmart wants you to use your debit card, not your credit card, because their processing system they pay basically about 1/10 the cost if you use a debit card through the automated clearinghouse network, as opposed to using Visa or MasterCard's rails. And so creating this app allows them to have control of the data, to have control of the customer data, and to eventually, if it's successful, to promote more heavy usage of debit cards, Walmart gift cards, and anything else other than credit cards, which they pay very, very steep fees for.
I'm not rushing out to buy shares of Walmart because of this news, but I like the way they're going about this. I mean, I'm sure that when they were having these discussions, someone must have put forward the idea, well, look, why don't we buy Square? Or, why don't we just go out and acquire a startup or something like that, and go about that this way? And I like the fact that they're going with their own system and rolling it out over time.
I think that if this has any real implications for anybody in particular, it's going to be for the MCX network, or the Currency system, which Walmart was a huge proponent of, one of the leaders of as it was created. And that was a wallet that was basically owned by a lot of large merchants like Rite Aid and Best Buy and Walmart and on down the line. And that was specifically trying to create a system that was an alternative to Apple Pay and Google Pay, but has been had a ton of delays, is not a very easy system to use, and Walmart coming out with their own proprietary system that basically is in direct competition to what they had been supporting before, I think pretty much spells the death of the Currency network. And so the implications outside of Walmart, I think, are that you're going to see those other companies, the Targets, the Best Buys, the Rite Aids of the world, drop Currency as a system in the future, and probably more strongly grasp partnerships with Apple and Android.
Do you think it does anything to speed up the death of the penny? The physical penny.
God, I can't remember the last time I used a penny. I was cleaning out my basement last week. Actually, I found a Ziploc bag that was so heavy. There were nothing but pennies in there, and I didn't spend the time counting it out. But there must have been, I don't know, 300 or 400 pennies in there, and couldn't even conceive of why I would have put a stack of 300 pennies into a Ziploc bag before.
You got a Coinstar machine anywhere near your home?
We do, yeah.
You just drop it off.
There's one at Wegmans, actually.
There you go.
We do go to Wegmans.
You do. We were just talking about that before we started taping. I'm a
Wegmans champion.
You're one of Wegmans' best customers.
That's right. Unfortunately.